This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
We made this.
Welcome back, everybody, to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. I'm your host today, Carl Sweeney, and welcome back to I Want to Believe Minute, which is the series we're doing at the moment, which we're very excited about, and it involves us going through the second X-Files movie, I Want to Believe, 1 minute at a time. And we're currently at minute 43, which we're talking about today, and which runs from the 42-minute mark. And we pick up with the discussion about Scully's patient still continuing. And then we go through to 42:59 as Scully is Googling stem cell therapy. And Sarah and Kurt are back with me today. Hello, both.
Hello. Your enthusiasm is palpable, Carl. Just
power through these minutes. It should be good fun to be with you, as ever. And before we start, quick reminder to follow us on social media. And if people are enjoying the show, Sarah, what can they do to help us out?
Well, you can leave a review on any podcast wherever you're listening. And reviews not only help us, but they help other people find the podcast. So reviews make it possible for us to be seen in searches and show up. And you're actually helping your fellow podcast listeners when you leave a review. And they don't have to be complicated. They can be simple, such as, hey, really enjoyed this show. So
yeah, it could be something like that, Kurt, couldn't it? It could be like, great show, charismatic hosts, that sort of message we'd love to hear, wouldn't we?
These showrunners are the greatest showrunners I've ever heard on a podcast about the X-Files.
My smooth, deep voice. And how much you love it.
Slow jam the X-Files.
All right, so people can do that. And actually, in addition to everything Sarah says, which is true, Apple has tightened up recently. It's the way it works in terms of what counts as a download to podcasts, and we need every bit of help we can get. Basically, is the message. Help.
Are we desperate?
No, we're not desperate, but we do want to remind people that they can subscribe to our Patreon, don't we? Which is patreon.com/thexcast, and that gives you bonus perks like early releases of episodes, which this movie is 16 years old, but if you just can't wait another day for these episodes, you can get them early by signing up to our Patreon. Okay, this is quite an interesting minute, I think. So, like I said, that conversation is continuing about the patient, about Christian, and it's got that exchange here, hasn't it, about you can take the matter up with a higher authority, which is what Scully says.
Yeah.
And Father Ybarra comes back saying, I've taken it up with the highest authority. So
boom, right back at you.
Yeah.
Batted it right back across the tennis court at her. Yeah. How do you interpret that exchange, Kurt? Who is the highest authority?
In his eyes or my eyes? Which?
What do you think the characters are saying?
The characters are saying that he's looked deep within himself and spoken to God and has come to the decision based on that by praying and doing whatever he needs to feel like he needs to do within himself. So,
yeah, I couldn't have said it better. He's done his due diligence as a priest and a man of God, and he feels comfortable in saying that, he's done the work, and that's the conclusion that he feels is necessary. So, which I know Scully heartily disagrees with, but yeah.
And there's a woman in that scene, isn't there, who also chips in and is kind of setting herself against what Scully is saying. And it's a Canadian actress, and Carter talked a bit about her. I think Christina Dalimonte or something like that. He talked about it as an important role. I mean, she has a couple of lines, and he described her as having a Picasso beautiful face.
Yeah.
So
she looks very similar to Sarah Jane Redmond, if I'm being honest. She's got
Yes.
that kind of fight feel to it.
I'm glad you said that, because at first I thought, wait, is this a second Sarah Jane Redmond cameo? And of course, that wouldn't make sense, would it? Because she's in the FBI, because she's the boss in that FBI.
Yeah, but Lucy Butler takes many forms.
Yeah.
If we're just crossing the Millennium Stream there, so I apologise.
Yeah.
I mean, Sarah, did you look at that woman and think of Picasso or his artwork?
No, but it struck me as a very curious way to describe a person. But maybe he meant in his early days. I don't know. Yeah. But she's very beautiful and she's a good actor. I like how she came up against Scully and felt very fiercely. Her character was very fiercely, for making the boy as comfortable as possible and not putting him through so much, which makes me wonder about the procedure and exactly, because I don't think she mentions exactly what it entails yet, has she? But just seemed like it would be a very extensive procedure and that would require some recovery and might not be something that would be the best for him.
I think you just get the sense, it'd be very arduous, don't you? Because I think she mentions intrathecal stem therapy, doesn't she? And I don't think we get the details, but it's like, you can't be serious, I don't know with the Picasso thing, because didn't Picasso paint people where their facial features were in the wrong place? I was thinking, if you describe a woman as Picasso beautiful, does that mean her nose is where her ear should be? Or, I don't know.
I think she's got quite an angular face. I think that's probably what he's trying to get across, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting way to describe things, though, to be fair.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we have talked about this, but I certainly would like to talk about this. The wig on Gillian Anderson is top notch.
Yeah.
I do like I Want to Believe Gillian hair.
Much better than the revival.
Mm.
Thank you for doing the hair shout out, Kurt. Good call.
How would you rate it compared to season 9 Scully and original series Scully, I would say?
Not as good. I like her original hair the best, obviously. But,
But all the seasons of the original show, you think her hair is better than it is in I Want to Believe, or not?
I think I Want to Believe is probably her at her most, and I don't mean this to come across bad, and it's not meant that way, but it comes across as her most, even though it isn't natural, but the most natural kind of aspect of it. It feels like you could pass a Scully in the street, whereas the other, obviously the 2000 Scully and the 1999 Scully, where the hair's just it's Jennifer Aniston Friends level of hair.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just imagine Scully walking past you in the street on I Want to Believe, and I think that it gives you, I think, that more groundedness of the character and also the fact that I feel a bit more, I lean toward more of that as well. It feels just more natural. As I say, but randomly it's a week, so.
Go figure.
Okay, so in this minute we go to Quantico, don't we? Because Mulder picks up the phone to call Scully, although she doesn't answer. And he's looking at one point an image of, I think, one of the missing women wearing the medical bracelet. Yeah. Kind of a quick insert shot, isn't there, of that? Scully is otherwise detained, isn't she? Because she's Googling stem cell therapy. And I don't know about the two of you. I seem to have heard some criticism of this in the sense that I'm sure I remember reviews at the time, people saying that it's unrealistic that somebody like a specialist like Scully would just hop on Google to look up this quite complex thing. Did that occur to either of you? Did it bother you? What did you make of her jumping on Google?
That didn't bother me. I think she's smart enough to know how to find the correct resources that she needs. I would hope. And Google is a place to start. You got to start somewhere.
And I don't think Google Scholar was quite there yet.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, like, I sort of agree with Sarah that as long as she can obviously critically evaluate whatever websites she finds and know what's worth looking at and what's not. As long as that's the case, I think it's fine. Like, it's the same with, I remember when Wikipedia started and people would always say, you should not use Wikipedia, if like to school kids or whatever. But the thing is, if you look at Wikipedia and you find a link to somewhere that's reputable, that's fine. It's just as long as you don't believe every single thing that you read on the page itself. Yeah, I think that's the main thing.
Well, I think from a separate perspective as well, that it's completely different. Just to add to the colour of this podcast, that when YouTube started, it was a godsend because I used to be able to go onto YouTube and watch people play the bass guitar badly, but it would always put me in the right position to give me a foundation to go, well, they're playing that, but what they're playing is obviously wrong. But I've got the key. I kind of know what it is. I know that's not a third that they're playing there. That's got to be a fifth, blah, blah, blah. And it's the foundational stuff. So if you're using it for, pointing in the right direction to go, actually, who's referencing are we going to need here because of that study that's been done by this particular physicist or whatever, then I think it's definitely worth that. And as I say, I joke around with the Google Scholar thing, but I don't know when Google Scholar was it part of Google at the time and stuff like that. So there's definitely things around it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you both, like, how much were people using Google in 2008? I can't quite remember. Because, like, what I remember is when I went to university in 2004-5, I had the room I was in, we didn't have Wi-Fi. So, like, actually going online meant we would have to trek over to this, like, computer hall, this computer room. And that would be where we'd search stuff. But I can't quite remember. I'm sure I used Google in that context a little bit, but not the way people use it now, where, like, you just have any kind of stray thought and, hey, I'll hop on Google and I'll figure out, whatever. So
was it a verb at that point? I don't know. I can't remember.
I think I can answer that question for you.
There you go.
Are you going to Google
it? Are you going to Google it?
Are you going to ask Jeeves? Is that what you're going to do?
Hang on. Google made it into the dictionary in 2006.
There you go.
After years of people saying Google it, the word was added as an official verb to the Merriam-Webster and Oxford English dictionaries in 2006. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Kurt, can you remember when you started to use, like, when would you place it when you started to use Google in a big way? Like, can you remember?
It would have to be around, I mean, I hate to go back to the Lost thing, but when Lost started in 2004, I remember being into that a lot more. When I was in school, we had IT suites, which were just kicking off. It was Acorn computers. It wasn't even Microsoft. It was Acorn computers that I was using. So that was in 1998. And then 2000 was when I left school. And I must have got a computer by about 2003, 2004. Because I do remember obtaining TV shows that were from America that were 6 months before we got them. I don't know how I did that, Carl.
Was it I'm getting the word LimeWire. Would it be something like that?
LimeWire, then eventually it was eMule, and I learned how to port forward to make the downloads faster. This might go back to people who are a little bit younger, but I will use Lost because obviously X-Files was off air by the time this happened. But effectively, I would wake up in the morning after it was on television in America. I'd wake up at 5, 6 in the morning. I'd get myself ready to go to work, for whatever time, and I'd set my download off. Now, bearing in mind that was about 8 in the morning. By the time I got back at 6 at night, it was about 95% done. Whereas when X-Files came back in 2016, the downloads were like 25 minutes.
Yeah,
that's how different it is from when X-Files 2016 compared to 2006. So 10 years difference cut downloads from 8, 9, 10 hours down to 25 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I remember doing similar where we were like, it'd be me and a few of my friends watching something. I remember doing this with 24 season 5 where I'd be the one setting off the download like first thing in the morning, and then we'd get back from our lectures at like 2 p.m. or something, and if you were lucky, the speed had held up and it was either finished or nearly finished. And if you were unlucky, it like really slowed down and you still had like 3 or 4 hours to go. You know?
Yeah.
Sarah, I feel like you probably missed out on this seminal life experience because you just watched these things when they were aired
Privilege.
the first time on.
American privilege is what it is. It's
Yeah, American privilege. What's that about?
But we didn't get to rewatch them. So we wanted to rewatch them. We had to download, which of course, you know. Or
You
had
had TiVo or
TiVo.
whatever.
no, we didn't have. I was recording it on my VCR myself, and I had to like press pause to cut out the commercials and sit there and actively record.
This when you were watching the live television version of it.
Right.
Live,
right.
as it happened, yeah?
Live as it happened.
That the UK wouldn't get for another 6 months.
there was no, you know, guarantee that we would ever see it again. So
you'd watch it again several times before the UK got it. Is what you're saying,
Yes.
Isn't it? American
I mean,
privilege.
I didn't know you then. I could have recorded it for you and like mailed you the tape if you wanted, but I don't know that the it's a different format probably, so there would have had to be like a conversion or something. I don't know.
I still think you should probably apologize to us, Sarah, to be fair, on behalf of the American people. Like, because we had to, I remember watching How to Go Steal Christmas in like April or something, because that's like when we got it, you know, stuff like that. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I do apologize. I'm so sorry that you had to suffer through such a
people suffer now.
terrible
Like,
time.
The Walking Dead, when it's like 20, well, up until recently, it was like 24 hours later. It was shown on a Thursday night, and it was showed in the UK on a Friday night. So there was like 36 hours difference, and people complain about that.
And you couldn't go on any forums and enjoy, you know, talking about, you know, but they had no spoiler rooms, so you could have gone in the no spoiler chats.
The temptation was there, wasn't it? And but there have been certain shows, haven't there, in recent years, like where, like Twin Peaks or something, when that came back, where they would show it over here at like 2 a.m. on Sky Atlantic or whatever.
Yeah,
but
Westworld did that. Westworld did that.
Westworld. Realistically, though, a lot of people, you know, you got to be at work at 9 a.m. or whatever, and you kind of have to wait till the Monday night, don't you? A lot of the time. So
the Walking Dead was an interesting point, actually, just from a television stroke movie perspective, because the scene where somebody dies quite graphically was showcased at 2:00 in the morning, and for those people who know, it was Glenn. And we had a quickly edited version. It didn't meet the BBFC standards, so it was quickly edited by the 9:00 show in the following night. So it was at 2:00 in the morning. It was like, oh god, that's graphic. I watched it again at 9:00. I went, that's changed. So they've literally changed it within the space of 10 hours.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this one up, except to say that the FBI lab, the Quantico lab, is also filmed at the Riverview the Riverview site, which I think is what you were alluding to, Sarah, isn't it? And
yes,
Chris Carter had said that the set is a lot more beautiful than they were able to show in this movie.
And something about the resin, the thing that they had to do, was that in this minute or the next minute?
I think but we see the resin in this minute, don't we? But
right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it next minute.
Okay.
So we have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Give us something to talk about. Okay. No, Carl was just talking about the fact they'd been loaned lots of little things. You know, the production had been loaned bits and pieces that they couldn't properly showcase on screen when he's talking about this particular set. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back to cover our last minute on this run of episodes, which is minute 44. We'll be back doing that very soon. But until then, everybody, always remember, trust no one.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.